Hello everyone, in this video we are just going to interface DHT11 temperature and humidity sensor module with our Node MCU by developing the relevant Python scripts on Thonny IDE. Let's get started. So this is the Thonny IDE. I'm just going to create a new file in this IDE for writing the relevant Python scripts by clicking on this particular icon or Ctrl N in our keyboard. And now I'm just going to save this computer and move to the respective location where you want the file to be stored. I'm just giving the name as DHT and enter. The file will be automatically stored in .py Python format, and let's start writing our script. Before start writing our script, we are just going to discuss about DHT11 temperature sensor and Node MCU. Along with that, we will visualize these two things and visualize the schematic diagram that we are going to build for interfacing this particular DHT11 to our Node MCU. And this Node MCU will be connected to the PC through micro USB cable, and we are going to discuss about the schematic diagram that we are going to build for interfacing the DHT11 with Node MCU or ESP8266 development board. So let us now discuss about the schematic diagram that we are going to build for fetching the temperature and humidity values from this particular DHT11 module using our Node MCU. So this is the DHT module that is available right over here. This is the DHT and this one is the Node MCU. We very well know that. So this DHT has three different pins. One is the VCC, ground and data. So VCC and ground is useful for powering of this particular module, and data is the only pin through which we can acquire the temperature and humidity data. So we need to connect this particular data pin to a digital pin of the Node MCU, and VCC can be connected to VIN and ground can be connected to ground. So let me just connect this VCC to VIN of Node MCU. And ground, I'm just going to connect the ground of the DHT12 to ground of Node MCU, so that now the DHT11 will be powered from the Node MCU power itself without any external power source. Since this is consuming very little amount of current, I'm just doing this. If you are connecting 2 or 3 sensors, you may need to connect a power source for powering up the sensor modules. And regarding the data line of DHT12, I am just going to connect it to D2 of Node MCU. So here is the D2. Here is the D2 of Node MCU. So I am just going to connect this D2 of Node MCU to data of DHT11 for fetching the temperature and humidity data. So this is the circuit that I am going to build, and this D2 is nothing but GPIO4 in our Python scripts. So this is a circuit that we are going to build for fetching the humidity and temperature sensor from DHT11 using our Node MCU, and this D2 external pin is nothing but GPIO4 of Node MCU in our Python scripts. So let us just see that. You can clearly see here the D2 is nothing but GPIO4. So we may need to configure number 4 for using this particular external D2 connector pin of Node MCU. So remember this particular pin, and let's start writing our Python scripts for fetching the temperature and humidity data from DHT11 module. So as we discussed, we are just going to make only 3 different connections using jumper wires from Node MCU to DHT11. VCC, ground is useful for powering up the DHT11, and the data pin we are just going to use the GPIO4, meaning like external D2 connector pin for connecting the data line of DHT11. So this one we need to remember, and let's start writing our script right over here. So I'm just importing machine, and I'm just importing DHT, which is the library for interfacing the DHT11, 22 sensors, and I'm just going to import utime. And as the first step, I'm just going to declare a variable for connecting the DHT sensor. So DHT dot, so DH is the variable and DHT is the library that we have imported right over here. And here I can write like DHT11 missing pin 4. So as we discussed, we are connecting the data line of DHT11 to GPIO4 or D2 external connector of node MCU. So I have mentioned 4 right over here. So this line will configure GPIO4 telling that the DHT11 data line is connected to GPIO4 of node MCU. And I am writing the while of true loop right over here. Inside the while of true loop, I am just going to call a function which is nothing but dh.measure. So this measure will help us to measure the data from our DHT11 such as temperature and humidity data. And after that, I am just going to provide a delay. Let's take it to be 2000. This is nothing but 2 seconds. And after the delay, I am just going to load temperature data from DH11 to a variable called temp and humidity data from DH11 in a variable called hum. And finally, after loading these two data from DHT11, we are just going to use the cell right over here, the Python cell right over here for visualizing the output in the hardware. So here I am just going to write humidity comma hum. I want the humidity value to be printed right over here, and followed by I am just going to print the temperature data right over here. So this line will help me to print the humidity value and temperature value from the temp and hum variables right over here in the Python cell. So I'm just saving the script and I'm running this particular script for visualizing the output in the hardware. And you can see this is the output in my hardware. The humidity is 56 and temperature is 29. And now I am just going to increase the temperature by using my soldering iron right over here. I am just bringing the soldering iron near my DHT11. You can see the temperature is increasing. So this is how you can use the DHT11 temperature sensor for detecting the environmental temperature and humidity by writing your own Python scripts in Node MCU like this. So I hope you learned something new in this particular video for interfacing DHT11 sensor for fetching the environmental humidity and temperature data. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.